This is Audible.
Audible Studios presents Falling, written by E.K. Blair, narrated by Angelo Carrillo and Piper Goodeve.
Your flaws are perfect for the heart that is meant to love you. Ash Sweeney. Prologue. 2 pills. 2 fucking blue pills. I swore I'd stop this shit, but I can't stand the pain that still radiates in the back of my head where he shattered his beer bottle the other night. I hate that I'm just like him, dependent on this shit. Fuck it. Tossing them into my mouth, I pour the cheap tequila down my throat and relish the burn that singes in my chest. My body falls lifelessly back onto the bed while the muffled music pounds through the walls. "Give me some," Renee says. Or is it Rachel? Who the hell cares? She pulls the bottle out of my hand and takes a draw of the amber liquid. Handing it back to me, all I see is a hazy shadow as I feel her crawl on top of me. This chick leached herself to me when I walked into this party earlier. I knew she'd be an easy lay, and when she shoves her hand down my pants and grabs my dick, she proves me right. I don't even try to focus as my body starts to weigh down from the effects of the pills. I love this feeling. Numb, heavy, warm, hazy. It takes me over, and I don't even realize that this girl is now fucking me until I look up. Closing my eyes, I begin to drift from the hell that consumes me. It's Saturday night. The night he stays out late drinking just to come home and impale everything he hates about his life into me. Waking up, head still heavy, vision clearer, I sit on the edge of the bed. I look over my shoulder and see some redhead, naked, sleeping. Who is she? I don't remember what happened. But I know we screwed because my pants are flung across the room and I see the used condom on the floor. My watch says it's after 1 a.m. and I need to get home. Pulling on my pants, I stumble slightly as I make my way through the house filled with people I barely know, drinking, dancing, making out. When I start my car, I know I shouldn't be driving, but I also know that I need to go because my dad normally drags his drunk ass in around this time. I hate knowing that my mom will be there alone with him. Pulling up to the dark gray 2-story house I have always lived in, I can't help but think about how the impeccably manicured structure is simply a mask for the madness that lives within. My stomach clenches when I see his truck in the driveway. I shut the car off and rush inside, but I know I'm too late when I hear my mother crying. Bolting through the house and into the kitchen, I get there just in time to see my dad swinging his arm around and smashing a coffee mug into the side of her head. Turning to face me, her face is void as she falls to the floor, blood everywhere. "What are you looking at, you piece of shit?" He spits at me and I fucking lose it. My body roils with vengeance when I charge at him, and we tumble, crashing to the floor. Rage takes over as I begin to pound my fists into his face relentlessly, over and over, skin splitting, blood gushing. The sounds of my mom screaming and the grunts I force out with every blow to his face are a distant echo in my head. He thrashes beneath me, but I don't stop. I know I'm going to kill him, and I hope I do. My teeth snap shut when he drives his palm into my jaw, causing me to bite my tongue. He continues to fight his way out from under me, flailing his arms and dumping shit everywhere when he yanks one of the kitchen drawers out of its tracks. My mouth fills with blood, and just when I spit it into his face, I fall over onto the floor. "Fuck!" I scream through gritted teeth as I grab my side. I hear the clatter of metal falling to the ground and watch my father's black boots stumbling away from me. Cold shivers prick at my body, and my vision fades as my breathing becomes more and more shallow. My mother's warm arms scoop my shoulders onto her lap as she cries, and I let my head fall to the side. When I see the bloody butcher's knife, I lift my shaking hand that's clutched to my side and raise it in front of my face. All I see is red. I wake up the next morning, body sore and 27 stitches in my side along my ribs where that son of a bitch stabbed me last night. Sitting up, I flinch against the stinging flesh. My mom is still asleep. I made her stay in my bed last night in case my father came back home, which he didn't. I quietly make my way downstairs and feel the guilt from everything that happened last night flood through my veins. If I'd never gone out, my mother probably wouldn't be sleeping in my bed with a concussion and stitches in her head. I've been so selfish lately in getting too fucked up on ecstasy and alcohol to protect my mom. The drinking, the drugs, the rage that fired through me last night. I'm him. He's a part of me. He runs through my blood. I hate him. I don't want to be him, but I am. Having him consume me like this makes me sick to my stomach, and I swear to God, I will do everything I can to avoid what I fear is destined to be my future. I've got to stop the fucking pills. I've got to. A loud knocking on the door pulls me out of my thoughts, and when I make my way to the front of the house and open the door, 2 cops are standing there, staring at me with a look I can't quite make out. Taking off his hat, one cop asks, "Is this the home of Richard Campbell?" Chapter 1. "Hey, boss, that clown you call a friend is asking for you." "I'm finishing up," I tell Max as I sign off on a few orders. "How long's he been here?" Standing in the doorway to my office, he answers, "Not long. Half an hour or so." I don't say anything as I finish up my paperwork and toss my pen on the desk, leaning back in my chair with a deep sigh. "Everything okay?" "Tired," I say as I look up at my friend. Max has worked for me for a few years now. He serves as security ever since business picked up at the bar after I bought it out from its previous owner. He's a good guy and extremely loyal, which makes him a commodity I can't afford to lose. Beneath his shaved head and insane build that intimidates most people that walk through the doors here, he's got a big heart. "Call it a night, man. It's late, and you've been up here all day." "Yeah." I push back from my desk and stand up, making my way out of the office. When I pass Max, I clap his back, saying, "I'm gonna go talk to Gav, then head out." Max follows as we walk down the stairs and into the bar that I've owned since I graduated from the University of Washington. This place has become a second home to me. It's where I spend most of my time. Bumping shoulders through the crowd of people, I spot my old college buddy, Gavin, tossing back a bottle of beer. "Ryan, dude, where the hell have you been?" "Working." "Mel!" he shouts to one of the bar girls. "Get this old man a beer." "No, Mel, I'm good," I tell her, and she just shakes her head at Gavin, knowing what a partier he is. "What's up with you tonight?" "Tired, man." "You not staying?" Before I can answer, a tall blonde catches my eye as she starts making her way through the crowd and up to the bar. She steps next to me and leans over the bar top to get Mel's attention, and when I eye her, Gavin mumbles, "Yeah, you're staying," all too knowingly. "Ryan, right?" the blonde asks as she turns to look at me, and when I nod my head, she introduces herself with a slow, "I'm Gina," trying to sound sexy, but it's lost on me because I couldn't give a shit what her name is. Girls like her are an almost daily occurrence. Have we met before or something? I ask, since she already knows who I am. Not officially. I've seen you around, though. She grins at me as she says this, but her fake tits are too distracting for me to focus on her face. It's when she giggles that I snap my attention up. You own this place, right? I nod my head again. One thing about me, I'm not much of a talker. I'm a pretty quiet guy for the most part, but with chicks especially, I don't talk. There's no need to. I don't care to delay the inevitable. I'm a straight shooter, and being as tired as I am, I cut the shit and say, "Want to get to know me better in my office?" Her smile grows, and I take her hand, leading her to the back stairs. I spot Gavin trying to nail his own bait, and he gives me a cocky grin when he sees me pass by. We walk into my office, and I close the door, pinning her up against it, clasping her wrists in my hand above her head while I run my other hand up her skirt and between her legs. Letting go of her wrists, she works with my pants, anxious to get them off. I fumble in my back pocket, and when I retrieve the condom, I quickly rip it open with my teeth, spitting out the shredded foil as she tugs my pants down. I waste no time. Closing my eyes, I shove her panties to the side and take her against the door. I never care to look too much at the girls I bang. Honestly, I don't want to connect in any way. This is me disconnecting. Screwing chicks as they come along. I don't talk. I don't watch. My escape lasts for as long as it takes me to get off. Then I move on. I've been this way my whole life, from a 15-year-old freshman in high school to a now 28-year-old man. I'm emotionally messed up, and I don't even try to hide it. Clinging herself to me, legs wrapped around my waist, I bury my head in her neck, and the thick perfume she's wearing makes me screw her harder, wanting to finish up so I can go home and wash this shit off of me. Pouring another cup of coffee, trying to wake up before heading out to the gym, my phone starts to ring. I know it's my mom before I even look. She always calls first thing Sunday morning. Predictable. Hey, Mom. Hi, honey. How are you doing? Taking my coffee, I walk over and plop down on my couch as I say, Good, nothing new. What time do you think you'll be here tomorrow? She asks. Around 2, I tell her. My mom still lives in Oregon at the same beach house that I grew up in down on Cannon Beach. After high school, I moved here, to Seattle, to go to college, but I still go back home often to visit. Tori's gonna come too. Sorry I didn't tell you earlier. Is that cool? Of course. Is she bringing the kids? Taking a sip of my coffee, I laugh and say, No, she's going crazy. That's why I invited her to hang with me for a few days. She's desperate to escape. She said that Connor has been a nightmare lately, throwing crazy temper tantrums. So she's going to leave the kids home with Trevor. Oh dear, 4 is such a rough age. I remember when you were 4, you were always embarrassing me. You hated wearing pants, so it didn't matter where we were, you would just strip down bottomless in public for all to see. She starts laughing, and I can't help joining in with her when she continues through her chuckles. I would be so embarrassed, but when I tried getting you to pull up your underwear, you just screamed and drew even more attention. I don't remember that. I laugh. Well, I do. Eventually, I had to tell you that it was against the law, and the police were going to come get you and throw you in jail if you did it again. Great parenting, Mom, I say as I shake my head in pure humor. I love hearing these funny stories of my past, since most of my memories are ones I wish I could forget. Well, she squeaks out, I didn't know what else to say, so I went with scare tactics. Did it work? No, she says with a soft giggle. Well, it'll be great to see the both of you. You too. I'm gonna go hit the gym, but I'll call you when I'm on my way tomorrow, okay? Okay, dear. Drive safe, and I love you. Love you too, Mom. I go upstairs to change before I head out to the gym to meet up with Max. We've always worked out at the same gym. That's how we first met. Making sure everything is locked up, I hop into my Jeep and make the short drive to the athletic club. Max's car is already in the parking lot when I pull up. Hey, boss, Max shouts through the empty gym. Nobody is ever here on Sunday mornings, so we make it a point to get together at this time. What's up? I say as I walk over to him. You been here long? Nah. We head towards the indoor track to do a quick run before lifting. Oh, I forgot to tell you, but I'm going out of town for a few days, so Michael will be at the bar all week. Going to see your mom? Yeah, mostly plan on surfing with my cousin, I say as we make our laps. Well, when you get back, I need your help. With what? Tracy is moving in, so I need you to help me with her furniture. Looking over at him, I question, she's moving in? Laughing at me, he says, Ryan, don't act so surprised. We're almost 30. Don't you think you should slow it down a bit yourself? Find a girl? Nope. You know I don't do the whole girlfriend thing. Never have. I like being alone. No one likes being alone. I like being alone. I repeat, but it's a lie. Truth is, I've always been too scared to have a girlfriend. Too scared to allow myself to even have feelings towards someone else. Too scared of putting myself in a situation only to discover the person I believe lives inside of me. A person just like my father. Whatever you say, he teases as we continue our run. My buddy Chase was wondering if we needed his help when classes start up in a few weeks. Working the door? Yeah. He's a good kid. He's in school full-time, but said he's free to work evenings. Rounding another lap, I tell him, yeah, that'll work. Have him call Michael. Michael has been managing the bar for the most part lately. Knowing that the bar is in good hands and is running smoothly has allowed me more freedom with my schedule, and the income has been nothing but generous. After a long workout with Max, I decide to stop by the office and take care of a few things before heading out of town. Hey, Mel, I say as I make my way past the bar to the stairs, and she gives me a flirty wink laced with mockery. Shaking my head at her, I go up to Michael's office. Hey, I thought you were out of town, he says from behind his desk. Michael started working here at the beginning of the summer. He's in his mid-30s with a wife and kids. Dependent on the paycheck I write him, he's proven to be dependable. Tomorrow, taking a seat in one of the chairs, I tell him, Max has a friend that's going to be calling you about a job. Check him out. And if he doesn't work, I need you to find someone who does. We need another guy to work the door. Summer has been a little slow, but shit always kicks up when classes at the university start. Got it, he says as he files through a stack of orders. Anything else? Yeah, I need you to start booking out the bands for at least 6 weeks. I'd really like to find a few we can book steady, so see what you can come up with. You can always call Gavin to see if he has any leads as well. Sure thing. When are you going to be back? A few days or so, I respond as I stand up to leave. You got everything under control? Yeah, man. Don't worry about things here. I'll catch you when you get back. Chapter 2. It's about time you got here. Sorry, got tied up this morning, I say when I walk through the front door. Spare me the details, Tori teases as she shakes her head before giving me a hug. Walking into the kitchen, I ask, Where's Mom? You just missed her. She ran to the store to get stuff for dinner. Want to head out so when we get back, you women have enough time to cook for me? I joke while she gives me a jab to my ribs. Tori is only 3 years older than me. Our moms are sisters, so we spent a lot of time together growing up. I have 3 cousins, all girls, but Tori is the closest in age to me and the only one that surfs. So we were pretty inseparable when our families would get together. We've always been good friends. She married Trevor in her early 20s and now has 2 kids. Seeing her as a wife and mother never deters me from giving her shit the same way I did when we were younger. You know Indian Beach is going to be insanely busy today, she tells me. Yeah. I sigh and look out the windows onto Cannon Beach. The waves aren't hitting as hard here, but they're big enough. Let's stay here then. You sure? We can wake up early and hit Indian tomorrow before the crowds get there. Nice weather is short-lived around here. Once the gray skies clear and the rain slows, everyone swarms to the Oregon coast, and Indian Beach is the spot that draws in the most people. Hopping off the couch, she says, "Sounds good. I'll go grab my wetsuit." We spend the next hour in the water until I hear my mother calling my name up on the beach. Paddling in, I walk out of the water and my mother knows me too well when she starts taking a couple steps back, but I rush in and wrap my arms around her, soaking her clothes. She laughs, and when I let go of her, she grumbles, "Now I have to go in and change, thanks." "You're welcome," I tease. Shaking off the mock irritation, she says, "It's good to see you, honey." "You too." She tucks a lock of her short blonde hair behind her ear and asks, "How much longer are you guys going to be out here?" "Not too long." She gives me a smile. "Okay, well, I'll be inside whenever you two are done," and turns to go back in. When I paddle back out, Tori is sitting on her board, and I join her as we bob up and down in the choppy water. "What are you doing?" I ask. "Taking a break," she responds as she looks out to the setting sun. I can tell something is bothering her, so I come out and say, "Talk to me, Tor. What's up?" She looks over at me, annoyed that I can read her like I do. Letting out a big sigh, she questions, "You ever wonder what it is we're doing?" "Meaning?" "Life," she says, taking a pause before continuing. "I guess I thought I would feel more content than I do. Truth is, sometimes I feel like I'm too settled. Kids, husband, like I'm stuck." When she looks over at me, I grab her board, steadying it next to me. "You're not happy?" She doesn't respond. "No," I answer for her. "I didn't say that." "You didn't have to. You're thinking too much." "Are you happy?" she asks. It's a loaded question. I'm numb most of the time. Friends are dropping off the scene, settling down with girls, and I'm still doing the same old shit. But the fear outweighs the jealousy, so I don't get too hung up on the fact that I'm emotionally incapable of having that. I never have had that. Never allowed myself the opportunity. All I know how to do is care for myself. I'm selfish just like he was. I'm not a provider the way a man should be. I'm a taker. I stay disconnected and take. I'm as happy as I can be, I guess. Tori never knew about my father, that he was a dick who used to pound his fists into his wife and son. Black eyes, broken ribs, bruises, and concussions. We kept it hidden well, my mother and I. They knew he drank, maybe not as heavily as he did, but that much they knew. Everything else we never spoke about. Once he died, Mom was determined to start a new life, a life that had nothing to do with our past. "Do you ever think about settling down?" she asks. No, I respond with forced ease. So you're happy? Having a different girl in your bed every night? I laugh. Every night is an exaggeration, and those chicks aren't in my bed either. They stay downstairs. How is it that you haven't gotten the shit beat out of you yet? She jokes in disgust. My laughter grows as I say, lucky, I guess. We sit for a minute or two when I finally ask the kicker, are you not happy with Trevor? It doesn't take but a second for her eyes to gloss over as she admits, I don't know. When the tears fall, she reveals, maybe it's supposed to be this way. Maybe what I was expecting just isn't reality. My reality is, I've lost myself along the way somehow. Between 2 kids and not working, I'm just lost. I don't know of any other word to describe what I feel. What does Trevor say? Does he even know? He doesn't want to hear me complain after he's been at work all day. Talk to him, Tor. Whatever is going on with you, he loves you and the kids. Maybe it's time for you to get out of the house. Go back to work. She wipes her face and laughs softly. The thought of not being with my kids kills me. I know you're right, but mommy guilt is a bitch. Yeah, I wouldn't know about that, I chuckle. Shifting, I lie down on my board and say, come on, let's drink before paddling back in. After dinner, I walk into the kitchen to grab a beer and check my phone while Tori and my mom talk in the living room. Popping the cap off the bottle, I take a long sip before picking up my phone. I scan through some new emails that have come through and forward a couple to Michael. Setting my phone back down, I lean against the counter and take another swig when my eye catches the cracked wood in the corner of the kitchen island. What the hell is your problem, kid? I'm sorry, it was an accident. Quickly grabbing a towel to clean up the juice I spilled that is now pooling under his briefcase, large hands grab my neck and shoulder. He abruptly throws me onto the floor, and the force of his strength sends me flying into the center island. The sharp corner pierces my back and sends a fire of pain up my spine as my head ricochets hard against the wood. I hear the crack and start crying. I'm scared he's going to get more upset with me if he sees the damage. I lie on the floor, avoiding eye contact, and grip the back of my head. I can already feel the bump growing. I'm sorry. It was an accident. He sneers, throwing my words back at me as he slings a dish towel at me. Clean this shit up. That crack has been there since I was 7 years old. It's such a faint line that I doubt my mother has ever noticed it. I'm calling it a night, Tori announces as she walks in and gives me a hug, pulling me out of my past. Early morning, let's try and head out around 7. Sounds good, she says before she turns back to the living room to tell my mother good night and then heads upstairs. My eyes shift back to the crack briefly as I turn to go into the other room. I walk over and sit down with my mom on the couch. How are you doing, darling? She asks, patting my knee as I get comfortable. Thinking back to my conversation with Tori in the water, I ask, are you happy, Mom? Where is this coming from? She questions, and I mindlessly find myself rubbing the back of my head where that bump from 21 years ago doesn't exist anymore, but the memory still does. You're all alone in this house. I worry. I've always been alone in this house. She never remarried after my dad died. I haven't even known her to date. We've never talked about it, but I just figured she was too scared. Can I ask you something? I say as I turn to her. Anything. How come you never sold this house? I wonder if the past still haunts her like it does me. What do you mean? It's filled with so many bad memories. But it's filled with so many good ones, too, dear. She smiles when she continues. I remember holding you in my arms when I brought you home from the hospital. This is our home. It always has been. The one thing that bastardized this place is gone. She pats my knee as she says this. Nervous reflex. She isn't convinced of her own words. I'm good at reading people, especially her. What about you? Me? Are you happy? I dig my thumbnail under the damp label on my beer bottle. Nervous reflex. I'm sure she sees it, too. We are good at reading each other like that. I worry about you, she says softly. You don't need to worry about me. I'm good. Business is good, I assure her. She leans back on the couch and lets out a sigh as she says, I don't doubt that work is good, but I wonder how much longer you plan on keeping up like you are. I wonder when you will decide to slow down and settle. You know why I don't settle, Mom. This is no secret between us. She has always known why I've never gotten involved with anyone. She knows my fears. I tell my mother nearly everything. You're nothing like him, she affirms sternly, and when I look at her, I deny her words. I'm a lot like him. She doesn't respond, and I feel bad for cheapening her words. Sorry. It hurts me to know that this is how you think of yourself. I don't want you to be alone. I want you to find someone that you can be happy with. I want the same for you, I tell her. I know you do, but you're young. You have time on your side. I can't help but laugh. God, Mom, you act like you're a blue-haired lady at the bingo hall. She laughs at me and says, You know what I mean. I know. Letting out a deep yawn, I take the last swallow of my beer and lean in to kiss her on the cheek. I'm gonna hit the sack. Tor and I are headed to Indian in the morning. What time will you guys be back? Around 10 or so. I'll cook you kids breakfast. I smile at her, referring to us as kids, and say, I love you, Mom, as I stand up and look down at her. Love you too. Chapter 3. Before the water gets too busy, Tori and I decide to call it and head back to shore. Tossing our boards aside, we sit and take a breather. The morning is cool, and the sun rising behind us casts a glow across the water. People filter in, trying to get as much of the sun as they can before the season changes and the rain and gray haze finds its home for the rest of the year. Personally, I love the darkness. I gotta head back tomorrow, Tori tells me as she unzips her wetsuit and tugs her arms out of it. I start doing the same, saying, I thought you were gonna stay for a few days. I was, but Trevor called late last night and he just got a big case, so he has to go in this weekend. She digs her feet into the packed sand and shrugs. Life of an attorney. You gonna talk to him? I question. She looks over at me and nods. I'll talk to him. Good. So when are you coming back home? I don't really know. Whenever. For sure Thanksgiving, though. Connor was asking if you were going to take him trick-or-treating this year. I love her kids. Although they are my cousin's children, we've always just referred to them as my nieces and nephews. I have a lot. 3 nieces and 4 nephews. Being an uncle is great, and I take pride in spoiling them rotten despite their parents. You know it's always a busy night at the bar, but I'll see what I can do. Don't say anything to him, though, because if I can't make it back here, I don't want him to be let down. She smiles and says, I won't. How is Bailey doing? I ask about her 1-year-old daughter. Crazy, she laughs. She's a tiny diva. I look at her and I know I'm in for trouble in about 14 years. Well, if she's anything like you were. God, don't even say it, she whines. We both laugh, knowing all too well how much of a partier she used to be when we were in high school. Recalling a memory, I mention, I will never forget seeing you hanging over the docks and puking into the water. Oh, that was awful. I was trying to be cool in front of that guy, Sean, so that he would notice me. Oh, he noticed you, I joke, laughing harder. We used to get together in Astoria, where she's from. We'd meet up with friends late at night and drink on the docks. Every now and then we'd get busted, but it never stopped us from going back. You ready? She asks. Yeah, I'm starved. I respond as I stand up and grab my board. We head up the stairs off the beach and to my Jeep. Loading everything up, we make the drive out of Ecola Park and back home. The smell of coffee and bacon fills the house as we walk through the front door. We toss our gear into the laundry room, then head into the kitchen where my mom is scrambling eggs. How was the beach? She asks as I pour a mug of coffee. Good, Tori answers. Well, it's a good thing you guys went when you did. It's supposed to rain this afternoon. You know rain doesn't stop us, I say as I walk by and kiss her cheek. She plates our food and we all sit to eat. Tori has to bail tomorrow, I tell my mom. Oh no, everything okay with the kids? She asks. Yeah, the kids are good. Trevor has to go into the office, that's all. When are you heading back? She asks me before taking a sip of her coffee. I'll probably stay here for a couple of days. I'm in no rush to get back. Michael should have everything under control. Finishing breakfast, I help my mom clean the kitchen before heading to my room to get cleaned up. After my shower, I lie down on my bed and call Gavin. Hey man, how's the beach? He says when he answers. Good. Anything going on Tuesday? Too many serious conversations yesterday and my head needs an escape when I get back home. Whatever you want to go on, he responds. Gav and I have been friends for nearly 10 years now. Through the years, I feel like our friendship, although it remains constant, has grown a bit superficial. He still parties the way we used to in college. We go out a lot, and he's into the chicks as much as I am. He's loud and obnoxious, where I'm more laid back, but he's my one friend that isn't tied down. Monkey Pub? I suggest. Yeah, that works. I'll text you later then. All right, man, I'll catch you when you get back. I spent the rest of my time with my mom, hanging out and taking it easy. It's always good to see her and catch up, although we talk on the phone often. She's always sad to see me leave. I know she was hoping I would move back to Oregon when I graduated college, but Seattle is my home. I love it. When I get back in town, I head to Monkey Pub to meet Gavin. The lot is packed as I pull into park. Walking in, the crowd is thick, and there are a few drunken college girls on stage murdering a song in karaoke. Ryan! I hear Gavin holler, and when I spot him by the bar, I make my way over. Mel, what are you doing here? I ask, but before she can answer, I catch her husband, Zane. Shit, man, I haven't seen you in forever, I say to him as I clap his shoulder. Busy with the band. Things are finally starting to take off. God, don't get him started, Mel complains before she downs a shot. Fill me in, I encourage, and he proceeds to tell me that his band has been offered a contract for a recording deal. No shit. That's great, I tell him. Thanks. We're pretty stoked. When I see the irritation in Mel's eyes, I question, what's got you so pissy? Zane forgot to mention that he would have to move to L.A. You think she'd be happy, but I can't get my woman on board to go to California, he tells me, and he wraps his arm around her. I love Seattle. All my family is here, she responds. You guys will work it out. For better or worse or some shit like that, right? I laugh. Right, she sighs, not happy about the situation. Turning around, I shout down the bar for a beer, and when the bartender gives me a nod, I take a seat next to Gavin. What did you do today? I ask as he drinks his beer. Just work. Shit never ends. Dude, you love work. Don't give me that crap, I joke. He laughs and says, Not gonna lie, it's a good gig. I'm gonna go check out a new band the label is showing interest in on Thursday. Wanna tag along? Yeah, I say as the bartender hands me my beer. Gavin has been working for Sub Pop Records for the past few years, so we hit up a lot of concerts. He turns to a couple of girls that walk up and stand next to him as they wait to order drinks. Taking a quick look back at me, he shoots me a wink, and I laugh at him. When he turns back to them, he says in tacky Gavin form, Hey, ladies. I sit back and drink my beer. Mel and Zane are off talking to friends, but when Gavin nudges me and says, I got one for you, I turn around and see a tall, curvy redhead smiling at me. Giving a slight nod, I say, You go to college here? Small talk. It's almost annoying to me because if I do too much of it, it makes me feel like a dick for possibly giving girls the impression that I'm interested in much more than just a fleeting hookup. Education major, she tells me with a thick southern accent, and I can't control the chuckle that slips out. What about you? Is she kidding? College was a few years back for me. As she nods her head, she says, Oh, naive. So, what do you do? She trails off, not knowing my name. Ryan. Right. God, this is painful. I run a bar off campus, I tell her. Cool. Looking over at Gavin, he's staring at the redhead and shaking his head. Yeah, I got the dits out of the two, that's for sure. You need a drink? I offer, and when she smiles and nods, I turn to get the bartender's attention. What do you like? Vodka. Shots? I ask. Mm-hmm. I shoot her a smile, and I know I'm in when she smiles back, biting her lower lip. I order 4 shots, and we waste little time knocking them back. We sit there as time passes, and she talks my ear off about school and moving up here from Oklahoma. I half pay attention, but make sure I nod to give her the impression that I'm keeping up. Her hand grips my knee when she leans in and begins talking closely into my ear as the bar grows louder the later it gets. Brushing her hair back behind her shoulder, I let my fingers graze along her neck, and she shifts to look at me, no longer talking, just staring. When her hand tightens on my knee, I lean in and kiss her, tasting the alcohol and willingness as she moves her lips with mine. She's not hesitant, but eager, so when I tug her hair, she moans into my mouth. Dragging her lips to my ear, she whispers, "Want to get out of here?" This one seems like she could be clingy, not wanting to go to my place and being tired after the drive back from Oregon. I lay it out there for her. Car? She pulls back, looking at me with question in her eyes, and I explain, I just got back in from being out of town. I'm tired. When she doesn't respond, I ask, that a problem? It takes a second, but eventually she shakes her head, and when I stand up, I see Gavin. You heading out? He asks. Yeah, I'm gonna walk. I look at the girl when she says, Mary. Huh? I question. My name. It's Mary. I'm an ass. I turn back to Gavin and quickly tell him, I'm gonna walk Mary out. I take her hand and lead her out into the rainy night to my Jeep. Not wanting to get my ass arrested, I go for the back seat, and she hops in behind me. She's on me quick, kissing me and rubbing her hands up my shirt. I return the gesture and grab her large tits when she begins undoing my pants, tugging them down. She leans over and takes me in her mouth. Shit! I exhale as I fist her hair and take control over her. Selfish? Yeah, I'm selfish. Escaping from my moment, not thinking, enjoying. All thoughts vanishing from my mind. This is my vice. It used to be drugs. I rolled on X when I was in high school. But this, well, this is just my version of a healthier release. Zipping up my pants, she runs her fingers through my hair. This is the part I hate. I turn cold to make it clear that this wasn't anything more than what it just was. Thanks. Thanks? Opening the door, I step out and hold my hand out for her. Like I said, I'm tired. She hops down and hesitantly says, You wanna call me sometime? I don't do the whole girlfriend thing. She nods her head, and my guilt appears as she turns to walk back into the bar without saying anything else. I take a moment and enjoy the rain that's falling, but when I hear my name being called, I turn around to see a familiar blonde walking my way from across the lot. Gina, she says, answering my unspoken question, and I suddenly remember the girl I had in my office a few days ago. What are you doing out here in the rain? She asks as she leans up against my car. Nothing, about to head home. Alone? Alone. She takes me by surprise when she shoves her hand in my back pocket and finds my cell, pulling it out. What are you doing? I ask when she starts punching something into my phone. Storing my number, she explains. She hands it to me when she's done and says, For when you don't want to be alone, before heading inside. Chapter 4. Dude, you said help with some furniture, not a whole house full, I complained to Max as we stand inside Tracy's home. You have something else going on today? If I said yes, would you let me off? He looks over at me with a straight face and admonishes, You want me kicking your ass? Shaking my head, I laugh and say, That's what I figured. Walking over to her large sectional couch, he starts pulling off the cushions. Come on. We begin to load the furniture into the U-Haul when Max asks, What are you doing later tonight? No plans. I need to run up to the bar to see if Michael was able to get any bands booked, I say as I jump down from the truck to go inside for another load. You want to stop by later? We're having a few friends over. We're? I question. Max just looks at me and laughs. Although he and Tracy have been together for a while, I know I'll be seeing much less of him now that they're living together. But hanging out with a house full of domesticated bliss isn't my idea of fun. So I tell him, I'm probably going to call it an early night. You sure? Yeah. We spend the next 2 hours loading everything up in the truck before driving it over to Max's house. Once everything is moved, I head into the office to get some work done and talk with Michael. He was able to book a few bands and hire Chase, Max's buddy, to work the door. Since it looks like he has everything under control, I call it a night and go home. Hopping out of the shower, I throw on a pair of pajama bottoms before going downstairs to watch some TV. I settle myself on the couch and flip on an old movie, one that I've seen countless times, but I watch it anyway. An email notification lights up my phone, and I pick it up to see that it's work stuff that Michael sent. Not wanting to hack into it tonight, I start mindlessly going through my phone, opening apps, and wasting time. I begin scrolling through my contacts and stop when I see Gina's info scan by. I tap on her name and stare at her number. For when you don't want to be alone. She's one chick that didn't make me feel bad after we hooked up. She got it. She accepted it for what it was, and clearly she's on the same page as me. Before I know it, the phone is ringing, and when she answers, I say, "Hey, it's Ryan." "Hi, what's going on?" "Nothing. You busy?" I ask, keeping the chit-chat to a minimum. "Not anymore." "Got a pen?" I give her my address, and when there's a knock on my door about 30 minutes later, I drag myself off the couch to see her standing on my doorstep. Long blonde hair, tall, and wearing clothes that make her look like she's trying a bit too hard for something that's a guaranteed giveaway. Her heels click against my hardwood floors when she walks in, smile-clad face as she gives me the look over. At least I won't feel guilty with her. I tell myself this a couple times before I take her hand and kiss her. She doesn't stop me or even slow me down as we stumble across the room. It isn't long before she's bent over my couch, ditching her self-respect just to moan my name in what is nothing more than another throw of diversion. But I'm no better. I'm far from respectable. So the both of us use each other for the mere minutes that we're able to hold on before lust takes over, and we lose control of ourselves. As I yank up my pants, she rights herself and turns to face me, sated. "I'm glad you called." I nod my head and start walking over to my kitchen to grab a drink. "You thirsty?" I offer. "Yeah, where's your bathroom?" she asks as I point down the hall. "It's on the right." "Thanks." When she returns, she situates herself close to me on the couch, getting more comfortable than she should, but I don't say anything. As she picks up her glass of water, she says, "So you have the night off?" before taking a sip. "I don't keep a schedule," I tell her, and when she doesn't respond, I clarify, "It's my bar. I own it." "That's right. I remember hearing that from Gavin." "How do you know Gavin?" I ask. "He stops by my place every now and then." Giving her a confused look, she assures, "Not to see me. My roommate, Ashley, and him have known each other for a while." Nodding my head, she continues, "Bar must do pretty well." "Why do you say that?" "This is a big space you have. It's nice." She takes another sip of water and sets the glass down on the coffee table. "I bought this loft with the money my father left behind. When he died, everything stayed locked up in an account, untouched for years. My mother wanted nothing to do with it for the longest time. She lived off of the interest, which was more than enough to support us. My father dealt in acquisitions, making a name for himself until he no longer had a name to make. I was still living with Gavin in an apartment after I graduated college when I fell into my business deal with the bar. I had been wanting a place of my own, but with the money I was sinking into the buyout, I couldn't afford anything. When I stumbled upon this place, it was perfect. The previous owner had done a full remodel, so it was turnkey ready. I couldn't turn it down, especially with the housing market in the shitter. I tapped into my father's money, bought it, and never looked back. "It's getting late," I tell her. "You don't talk much, do you?" Her inquiry is laced with curiosity to get to know me. No. Yeah, she sighs. I'll see you later. Knowing that her offer is probably the one with the least repercussions, I say, I'll call you. This chick is a no-strings girl. Perfect. She stands up, and I walk her to the door, giving her a chaste kiss before she leaves. It wasn't but a few days after I had Gina over that she called me. We've been getting together for the past couple of weeks. It beats having to go out all the time only to wind up back at square one. But the last time she came over, she wasn't so quick to leave. I know my reputation. Girls know it too. But if this one thinks that she's going to be the one to tie me down, she's got it all wrong. I know I'm only making it worse as I lie here, watching her pad out of my room to go grab me a bottle of water. But what she gives me is what I need, so I take. When she walks back into the room, holding my camera, she says in a flirty voice, "What kind of pictures do you have stored on this?" She slips back into my bed, still naked, and I take the camera from her that I left out earlier today when I was taking pictures of one of Mel's friends. "You photograph people?" "Mainly." "Really?" She responds with a hint of excitement. "Really?" I say. I've always loved art, and photography is something I started tinkering with while I was in college. I don't do a whole lot of it, but what little I do, I enjoy. It's nice to have something to focus on every now and then. Rolling onto her stomach, she peers up at me and whispers, "Photograph me." I step out of the bed and find my boxers slung across the room. Pulling them on, I walk back to where she's lying and focus on her back. She has a curvy figure, which enhances the sway of her spine. I zoom in and start shooting. She has no idea what I'm photographing when I stop snapping and look up to see her giving seductive looks into the camera. I don't want her face, just the line of her back. After I get my shots, I instruct, "Sit up and face away from me." She does, swinging her legs over the edge of the bed. I swipe the hair off of her shoulder and bring it around to her other shoulder. I then get a few shots of the contour of her neck. I'm close, and when I move to the side of her, she shifts to kiss me. There's something to it, something I'm not feeling. Quickly pulling back, I say, "You shouldn't do that." "Why?" "Because I'm not that guy." "I don't believe that," she whispers, and it's now that I see the shift. I see the strings. "You've had me in your bed for weeks now," she says. I don't want to make her feel like crap, but I don't want to lie either. "This isn't my bed." When she shakes her head, confused, I clarify. "My bed is upstairs." "Oh." Her brows dip slightly, and I can see the letdown. Gavin warned me about Gina, but I blew it off. He found out from her friend, Ashley, that we were getting together regularly. He told me that Ashley said that she wasn't interested in anything casual with me. I blew it off because Gina has never led me to believe otherwise. Until right now. "I thought we were on the same page here," I say. "No, we are." "You sure? I'm not into hurting people, but I'm not into feeling either. So if that's what you're—" "No," she says, cutting me off. "I just misread you for a second, that's all. No strings." Her words aren't the least bit convincing. I see right through her and wonder why she would put up with me for a hopeless shot at something more. "I should probably go," she says as she starts putting her clothes back on. When she's dressed, she makes her way out of the room, down the hall, and to the front door. Grabbing onto her arm, I turn her to face me. "Hey, I just need to be clear with you that this is all it will ever be." "It's clear," she responds. Good. After she leaves, I start to grow more uncomfortable with the situation. I shouldn't have kept calling her. I thought I was up front, but wonder if I was just leading her on. I stew around, thinking about how to remedy the situation, when my phone buzzes with a text. "Can I see you tomorrow?" Shit. She couldn't even wait an hour. Yeah, I've got to cut this off. Looking at the time, I can't believe it's still so early. Not that our escapades last any longer than they have to. She likes it fast and rough, which works perfectly for me, since that's all I like. But shit has to come to a stop, sooner than later. The last thing I need is a clinger. It's been a few days since Gina was here last, but tonight she stopped by unannounced, saying she had a stressful day at work and just wanted to vent. She spent the whole time bitching about some chick she works with that's friends with some other chick Gina used to be friends with. Shallow shit. Shit I couldn't care less about. But the fact that she thinks coming over here and talking to me about this crap is okay is all I need to know. She's getting attached, and it's time to cut it off. The calls, the texting, it has to stop. I grab my keys and decide to head up to the bar to get some work done and to get my mind off of the situation I've created with Gina. When I walk in, it's packed. A good thing for a Monday night. Today was the first day of classes at UW, so business will pick up as it usually does after the summer. I look over to Mel, but she's too tied up with customers to notice me. I make my way through the crowd to the back stairs. I stop in Michael's office to pick up some paperwork from him. When I get into my office, I look at the schedule he's set up and start working on inventory orders. Time passes, and I'm deep into paperwork. We're closed, and I can hear the bar girls downstairs laughing loudly as they clean up. "Bad news, man," Max says as he walks into my office. Looking up from my desk, I lean back in my chair, tired, and ask, "What is it?" "The band that was scheduled for this Saturday night canceled." Throwing my pen across the desk, irritated, I gripe, "What do you mean they canceled? They've been on the books for weeks." "I don't know. I didn't make the call, but we've got to fill that slot in the next couple of days. Classes at UW started today, so this weekend is going to be busy as hell." Shit. I pause for a second, frustrated as fuck. It's too late to do anything about it tonight. I'll make some calls tomorrow and try to get another band booked. Oh, hey, if those fuckers call back, tell them to find another bar to play. "Right, boss. You heading out soon? It's past midnight already." "Yeah, in a little bit. I need to finish this paperwork and I'll be gone." "Go ahead and go." "See you tomorrow, man." "See ya." Time passes as I try working on the inventory supply sheet that I need to get into our liquor distributor, but my mind is elsewhere. I really need to call Gina and tell her it's over. A clatter outside snaps me out of my thoughts. I look down at my watch to see it's nearing 1 a.m. Shit. When I start packing my things up to head home, I hear more commotion from outside. I shake my head, knowing it's probably just some drunk guys heading back home from a party. People are always cutting through the back alley. I start locking everything up and make my way downstairs to the back door. Crap, I mutter to myself, realizing I left my cell in my office. Walking back up the stairs to my office, I grab my phone off my desk. I hear screaming. A girl screaming. Chapter 5. Fuck. Bolting out of my office, I haul ass downstairs to the back door and out to the small employee parking lot in the alley. "God, please, stop!" a girl shrieks. Before my mind can process what I'm seeing, naked girl, guy's hand between her legs, girl thrashing, screaming, the bastard smashes his fist into her face. Adrenaline fires through my body, and I run. Yanking the guy off her, I start slamming my fist into his face over and over. I completely lose control of myself and relentlessly wail on him. I'm gone. My knuckles start to burn as the flesh begins to split open. He manages to get a few swift hits to my jaw and ribs, which allows him a quick moment to work out of my grip and flee. Before I can charge after the guy, I catch a glimpse of the girl. It doesn't take but a second for me to refocus. She lies there, unconscious, bare, with her clothes ripped off of her. My stomach convulses at the image before me. I slowly approach her, scared, and kneel down next to her. Terrified to touch her, I take off my shirt and cover her naked, battered body. Her face is covered in blood and dirt, skin scraped off on one side, and the other is already swelling from where the fucker's fist landed. Her knees are ripped open and covered in gravel. The blood between her thighs tells me exactly what that piece of shit did to her. My heart thuds hard in my chest, and my gut is in knots. I pat my pockets for my cell, but it's not on me. I must have dropped it as I ran out here. Not wanting to leave her, I look around and spot her purse. I lean over and grab it in search of her phone. When I find it, I swipe the screen and dial 911. My voice is shaky as I try to talk to the dispatcher. My thoughts are all over the place, and I stumble as I try to answer all of her questions. When she tells me that the police and EMTs are on their way, we disconnect. I slip the phone back into her gold purse and slowly zip it up as I stare at her. I don't want to look, but I can't stop. As I sit next to her, she lies there, breathing peacefully. Whatever is running through her head right now has to be 1,000,000 times better than the hell she's going to wake up to. What the fuck just happened? I watch her. I don't know what else to do. She is so small, and when I look at her tiny hands, her nails are shredded. Shit. She fought. She had to have fought hard. The thought nearly makes me vomit, and when I shift my eyes away from her hands, I notice a little tattoo, an outline of a heart, simple black ink on her lower hip that's still exposed. Sliding the shirt over a little to cover it, I finally hear the sirens in the distance. Thank God, I whisper. The sound grows louder the closer they get, and when the red and blue lights strobe across the parking lot, I reluctantly stand to my feet, but don't move away from her until the EMTs approach. "Sir, can you step over here?" an officer asks. We walk over to the rear of his vehicle. He pulls out a clipboard from the car and opens the top of it, retrieving a few forms. "I need to get your statement," he says while he organizes the papers under the clip. "You're the one that called 911, correct?" "Yes, sir," I answer before turning my head to see them sliding the girl onto a backboard, strapping her down. She's now covered in a large blanket, and it's at this moment that I feel pain, sadness, anguish. It wells up and floods my eyes. I don't even know this girl, but I hurt for her. "Where are they taking her?" I ask the officer. "You know her?" "No." I turn back and watch as they slide her into the back of the ambulance. Another EMT is collecting the scraps of her clothes that remain on the ground. "Can you tell me what happened?" the officer asks. "I don't know," I mumble. I can't seem to get my head straight. What just happened? "Take your time. It's important that we get a detailed account of everything that occurred. Everything you saw." Is she going to be okay? I ask as the ambulance drives off. Do you need to sit down, sir? I faintly hear the officer as he speaks. Pressure on my arm shifts my focus when I realize he has his hand on me, guiding me to sit in the front passenger seat of his vehicle. The door shuts, and I lean my head back against the seat. I watch him walk in slow motion around the front of the car. He sits in the driver's seat next to me. Start from the beginning. He raped her. I choke out. My God. He beat the shit out of her, Mom. I can't close my eyes without seeing it, I tell her. I couldn't sleep at all last night. I just laid in my bed, replaying it over and over. Is she okay? I don't know. They wouldn't tell me anything. It feels weird to see that and not know. Are you okay? How am I supposed to answer that? What do I say? Say how you feel, she tells me with worry and concern. I feel sick. What he did to her. What I saw. Hate that I'm not there. It's okay, Mom. I don't really want to talk anymore. I just needed to tell you. I needed to tell someone. I'm so sorry that you had to see something like that, she says. I've seen so much shit in my life. Too much to ever forget. You can't rid your mind of images that burn themselves into who you are. I've had to watch my mother getting the life knocked out of her at the hands of my father more times than I ever want to remember. But I also have her sounds etched in me, her painful, pleading screams. And now I have this girl, this unknown, a Jane Doe, blanks that will never be filled. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you. I confess. Guilt. Ryan, don't. The knot in my throat makes my words painful to say, but I force them out. My confession. I was right there. I heard the noise out back. If only I would have gone out there. Fuck, why didn't I go out there sooner? How could you have known? I could have stopped it, prevented it, but instead I ignored it. The whole time I knew there was someone back there, and I ignored it. I sat in my office while that girl fought so hard she had no nails left. What have I done? I breathe out, suddenly feeling the weight of the responsibility I now hold. You didn't do anything, she tries assuring me. She's right. I didn't do anything. Nothing. I close my eyes, and I see it. The blood between her legs. The image I know will forever be with me. I toss the phone aside and rush to the bathroom, vomiting, expelling the toxins, but not the images. Those remain. Needing to move, needing to get out of the house, I drive up to work. I park out front and head straight to my office, shutting the door behind me. Fuck, why am I here? There's a knock on the door, and when I say, "Come in," Max walks in. Everything all right, boss? Shut the door, I tell him, and he does. What's going on? I didn't get any sleep last night, and I feel like shit. I know I look it, and by the expression on his face, I know he sees it. Folding my hands, I lean forward on my desk. Something really fucked up happened here last night after you left. He walks over and takes a seat in the chair. A girl was raped out back, I tell him. Christ, he breathes as he drops his head. I don't say anything else. I'm not sure I can. We both sit there in silence as seconds pass by. I finally speak the words that have me so fucked up. I saw her. The girl? I heard her screaming, and when I went out there, he was on her. I spin around in my chair and stare out the window that overlooks the street in front of the bar as it rains. I want cameras installed back there, I tell him. I'm on it, he responds. You okay? Still facing the window, I admit, I don't know, man. That shit was fucked up. Did the police come? When I turn back around to face him, I answer, yeah, I gave my statement and they took her to the hospital. Was she okay? I don't know. He beat her pretty badly. She was unconscious. And the guy? Don't know. I had him for a moment, but I couldn't keep him in my grip. I couldn't leave the girl, though, so he fled. I take a minute before telling him, I don't want the girls walking to their cars alone. You and Chase need to be with them when they leave. Got it? Of course. He takes a moment before asking, You sure you want to be up here? Looking up at him, I let him know. Can't be home. I need a distraction. I hear you, he says, then switches the topic, which I'm thankful for. I talked with Chase earlier today, and he says he knows of a band that's gotten pretty popular lately. If you're tied up, I can get Michael to see about getting them booked for Saturday. Nah, I'll take care of it. Is he here? Yeah, I'll send him up, he says as he stands and starts walking out. When he gets to the door, he turns back and says, I'm here, man, if you ever... Thanks. His friendship is genuine. It always has been. I might not be a man of many words, but I stop him before he walks out and tell him, I really appreciate it, because I feel like he should know. He gives a nod, accepting my words, and turns to head downstairs. I spend the next few hours reviewing the financials and going over payroll. It's Michael's responsibility, but I absorb myself in it for the distraction. I speak with Chase, and I am able to contact one of the guys from the band he suggested and get them booked. Filing some papers away, I notice the sky darkening. Somehow the day has passed, and I still feel like I'm on autopilot. God, please, stop! I shake my head, trying to wash out the shrill of her voice, the panic. There's a soft knock on the door, and before I can say anything, it slowly opens. What are you doing here? I ask when I see Gina step in and close the door behind her. This is the last thing I need to deal with right now. I never heard from you last night. I wasn't feeling well, I tell her. Look, things are getting a little weird, and honestly, I'm just not feeling right about what we have going on. I should have told her this the other day, but I know that I can't keep having her come around, thinking that this has any value in it. She sits down and questions, What do you mean? Getting up from my chair, I walk around to the front of my desk and lean back against it in front of her. I need to lay it out there honestly for her so that there isn't any confusion. I'm starting to feel like what's going on between us is exactly what I try to avoid. It isn't working for me. And I'd feel like an ass if I led you to think otherwise. She looks hurt. Proof that she's feeling too much. She plays it off well, though, when she says, Well, it was fun while it lasted, right? I don't respond as I watch her stand up. Keep my number, though, she says before turning her back to me and walking out. I release a deep breath. A failed attempt to make me feel better. Truth is, I'm in a haze. A cloud. My mind is elsewhere. It's back in the alley. But that girl's cloud is no doubt thicker and darker than mine right now. Why didn't I go out there sooner? What if I had? Fuck. I grit out, slamming the door shut, knowing I'm at fault. That I could have done a lot more if only... Chapter 6. Walking through the back stockroom, I ask Mel, "Hey, have you seen Max or Michael?" "Michael left a couple hours ago, and last I saw, Max was out back talking to Tracy," she tells me as she loads her arms with a case of beer, almost dropping it. "Here, give that to me," I say, taking the heavy case from her. She follows me as I walk out and set the beer on the bar top. The place is starting to fill up. The band that Chase had recommended played here last week and really drew in a crowd. I went ahead and booked them again for tonight, and he wasn't kidding when he said they were well known around here. I help Mel behind the bar, stocking the beer while she serves customers. When I catch Max heading to the front door, I shout, "Hey, Max." "What's up?" "You seen the guys yet?" I ask. "Chasen is here, but I'm not sure about the others. Everything cool?" "Yeah, if you see them before I do, tell them I need to talk with them before they go on tonight." "Got it," he responds as he turns to head out to work the door. I need to snag this band while I can. Getting them in a contract will alleviate the hassle of trying to book bands week after week. The guys seem pretty cool from what I got to know of them last week, which wasn't a whole lot aside from the guitarist, Mark. He stayed late that night, drinking and bullshitting with me and Gavin after he was done playing. Gavin tried leeching some chick on him, but got a good laugh when he found out that his hard work with the girl went down the shitter when Mark told him he was gay. The look of disappointment that he wouldn't have another wingman was something I selfishly took pleasure in. He's been on my case lately since I ditched him a couple of times this week. I haven't been in the mood to go out just to find someone to use simply to make myself feel better. Ever since I saw that girl being attacked a couple weeks ago, it feels wrong. "You got everything covered, Mel?" "Yeah, Rye, I'm good," she says, and I start making my way to the back. I spot Chasen and Mark talking and announce, "Hey, guys, can you get the others and meet me in my office real quick?" "Yeah, no problem," Mark says and then introduces me. "Ryan, this is Jace, the guy I was telling you about." "Jace, man, good to meet you," I say as I reach out to shake his hand. "Yeah, same here," he responds with a note of hesitation, but I don't stick around because I've got to get up to my office to talk with everyone. "I'll catch up with you later, man." "Sounds good," he says. Once all the guys are in my office, I offer, "What do you guys think about making this gig a steady one?" "You serious?" Aiden, the front vocalist, says. "Yeah, I'm not gonna bullshit you guys. Finding bands is a bitch. So if you're in at a 10% pay increase, all you have to do is sign this simple contract and we're good." I take the contract and hand it over to Aiden, who reads through it first and confirms, "I'm in," before handing it over for the rest of the guys to read. When they are all on the same page with the agreement, they sign and call it a deal. Adding them to the payroll takes a load of stress off my back and simplifies my job even more. When they leave to head down, I stay a little while to enter their info into our database. I write a note to Michael about the new payroll and employee additions and toss it on his desk before heading down. The band is just about to start playing when I make my way over to the bar and see Jace. "Jace." I move to stand next to him, leaning my elbows on the bar top. "You ever been here before?" "Yeah, this crowd is a bit insane, though," he replies. Watching Mel hand him his beer, I tell her, "Don't bother with a tab, Mel." "Thanks, man," he says as he turns to me. "No problem." The music starts blasting through the bar when I say, "Your guys' band is fucking popular. They brought in a huge crowd last time they played here as well." He keeps his focus on the stage, not responding, so I leave it and ask, "You go to school together?" "Yeah," he hollers over the music. "We're in the same major." "And what's that?" "Architecture." "That's cool. I say, and then turn to yell for Mel to grab me a beer. Ryan! Fuck, man! I hear Gavin shout with irritation from behind me. I turn and question, what? That chick you flung on me last night was a fucking psycho. Ignoring his complaint, I turn to Jace and say, Jace, this is my dick of a friend, Gavin. What the fuck ever, Gavin says as he laughs. He looks to Jace and warns, watch out for this dipshit, and don't let him hook you up with anyone. His matchmaking skills suck balls. Find your own ass, Gav. I'm not your fucking hookup. I let him know because I'm not into his game tonight. Not anymore. What the hell has happened to you lately? Nothing. Just sick of wasting my time. I take a swig of my beer while Gavin tells Jace that I've been acting like a pussy. So I clip him and say, don't waste your time buddying up with Jace. Sad. I guess it's just me trying to get laid, huh? Sorry, looks like it, Jace tells him, laughing. Are these the same guys that played here last week? Gavin questions. Yeah, they're going to be playing here every Saturday now. They just signed a contract earlier. They looking for a label? Ask this guy. I have no clue, I say as I tip the neck of my bottle towards Jace. You know them? He asks Jace. Yeah, but I don't know, Jace responds. I only know Mark and just met the drummer. This is Mark's guy, I tell Gavin. He gives me a nod, then says to Jace, yeah, I met Mark the other day. Cool guy. I turn away from them and spot annoyance. Gina, she's here. I don't even say anything when I walk away and head toward her to see why she's here. She texted me the other day, but I ignored it. So seeing her here, when she knows this is my bar, winds me up a bit. Weaving through all the people, I see her turn and spot me. Her smile grows along with my irritation. Hey, you, she says as she slides herself up next to me. What are you doing here, Gina? Just wanted to see what you were up to. She flirts as she runs her hand down my stomach, straight towards my pants. I grab her wrist and stop her, snapping. If I were up to anything that had to do with you, you would know about it. You being here is just desperate. I suddenly feel like crap for my harsh words, but part of me, the big part of me that used to use people like I used her, pangs with regret. She doesn't respond, and I know I just humiliated her, so I let go of her wrist and say, look, I'm sorry, I'm a dick, I know, but I need you to leave. Before walking away and back to the bar. What the hell is up with you? That chick was all over your nuts, Gavin says when I approach, knowing damn well who Gina is. Ignoring him, I lean over the bar and holler, Mel, I'll be up in my office. I'll come down later, okay? Yeah, no problem, Rye, she says as she's mixing a drink. Gavin catches my arm and questions, Dude, seriously? What the hell is going on with you? Jerking out of his grip, I tell him, not in the mood. You haven't been for a couple weeks. You wouldn't get it, man. I exhaust and then walk up to my office. Shutting the door behind me, I flop down in the chair and close my eyes. You're the one that called 911, correct? Where are they taking her? You know her? Is she going to be okay? Take your time. It's important that we get a detailed account of everything that occurred. Everything you saw. My eyes pop open, wanting to escape the scene that keeps creeping in. The rouse of my stomach weighs heavy when realization hits. My actions, though acted out on a totally different scope, are the same as that fucker who raped that girl. We both used someone to satisfy some twisted piece of ourselves with completely selfish intent. I've used so many people just to numb the ache I feel. Fuck. I wonder how many girls I've hurt. I know of one for sure. She's downstairs, and I just made it worse after throwing my words at her. What's wrong with me? I'm restless. It doesn't matter where I am, it follows me. But I need to move, so I head back down, not knowing what else to do with myself. Mel can see right through me, telling me to go home. I say a few quick words to Jace and then do as Mel says and go home. Chapter 7. It's been almost 2 months since I last saw Gina when she came by the bar. It's been longer than that since I've been with a girl. Ever since that night in the alley, my mind hasn't been in the same place. The images have started to fade, but I just can't continue to use people like I used to. When I think about going out to find a hookup, all I think about is that fucker I let get away. I never heard anything regarding my statement that the police collected, so I have to assume no charges were ever pressed, or else I'm sure I would have been contacted by now. I've only ever mentioned that night to my mom and Max. I never told Gavin about what I saw. He's still running his game and has been hanging out with a couple of his buddies more often, now that I've been lying low. It doesn't bother me because I've been spending more time with Mark and Jace. The two of them are pretty solid guys. Although they're a few years younger and still in college, I feel like we're on more of the same level than Gav and I are. We've been hanging out and hitting the gym on a pretty consistent basis. That, along with seeing them every Saturday night at the bar, we've gotten to know each other pretty well. I ran into Gavin the other day, and he gave me some extra tickets to check out a band that Sub Pop is considering signing, so I invited Jace and Mark to meet me at the Crocodile, where this band is going to be playing. I throw on a black V-neck t-shirt, a pair of dark-washed jeans, and black boots. Running my fingers through my long hair that is due for a trim now that it's hit my ears, I grab my keys and head out to my Jeep. When I drive past, there is a huge crowd gathered where the legendary club is located. I park down the street and walk. Once inside, I make my way backstage where Gavin told me to meet him. "Ryan, you made it," he says when he spots me. "I told you I would. Just didn't know if you were gonna bail." He gives me a friendly clap on my shoulder and then introduces me to the band before we head out to the bar to get a drink. Mark is already there waiting on the bartender to take his order when we approach. "Hey, man," I say to him, "when did you get here?" "Just now. I ran into Mel's husband a second ago." "Zane's here?" I ask. "Yeah, he's around somewhere." "Mel here?" "I don't think so. I haven't seen her," he responds. "Mark, good to see ya," Gavin says after he's done putting in our drink order. "You too. Thanks for the tickets." "Have you ever played here?" he asks Mark. "Shit, I wish," he laughs. "No, man. Before our gig at Ryan's bar, we were just taking anything we could get." "I hear that a lot. Well, I gotta go meet a couple guys from work. I'll see you all in a bit," Gavin says as he grabs his beer and walks off. I pick up the bottle that's on the bar for me and take a long pull when I notice Jace isn't around. "Where's Jace?" "Got tied up with a friend. He's not gonna make it," he tells me. "Tied up all night?" He nods his head and explains. "Yeah, she's going through some heavy stuff, so Jace is staying the night with her." He takes a sip of his beer and then adds, "He'll be at the bar tomorrow, though." We sit and talk for a while as we continue to drink. The place is packed tight with people, and when the band takes the stage, the music blasts through the place, and there's no more talking. When Zane finds us, he orders a round of Jack and Cokes, and it isn't long before Mark orders his second. He isn't paying attention when I hear a woman's voice in my ear. "Did you need anything?" she asks as she sets Mark's drink down. She's hot, deep tan, long brown hair, tall, and wearing a short black skirt that raises the question of what's underneath. I shoot her a smile and nod my head for another Jack and Coke. She turns to make my drink, and maybe it's the alcohol that's already flowing through my veins, or maybe it's the fact that I haven't gotten laid in months, but lust takes over. My indecent thoughts are interrupted when Mark stumbles into me, laughing uncontrollably. As soon as he opens his mouth to slur out his words, it's clear he's wasted. "How many of these have you had?" I say as I point to his drink in hand. "Check this shit out." He nearly shouts as he shoves his phone in my hand, and before I get a full view of what that chick is doing with a glow stick, I shove it back to him saying, "Dude, that's fucked up." Mark can hardly catch his breath. He's laughing so hard, and I'm getting a kick out of the show he's giving me. So I sit back on my bar stool and laugh right along with him. Mark is a cool guy, much more outgoing and funny than Jace is. Jace tends to be more on the serious, calm side.
"I bet you'd like to be that glow stick, huh?"
"That's sick," I cringe. "Plus, you're the one that has that crap stored on your phone. Does Jace know that you get off on that?" I tease.
"You want to see what I get off to?"
he says as he starts scrolling through his phone. "No. Love you, man, but I don't want to see what you're about to show me," I say as he starts pushing his phone towards me.
"Oh, come on,"
he taunts while I continue to laugh at him.
"I know you think Jace is hot."
"What?"
"He's totally hot. Admit it. Hot."
Holy shit, this guy is far gone.
"I'm not saying a word," I tell him. "That's a yes?"
he says in a sing-song voice followed by an evil smirk. He's trying to get a rise out of me, and I find it pretty hilarious. It's not a yes.
"The dude is sexy as hell and you know it."
He's not gonna stop, so I just give him what he wants, and for the hell of it, I say, "Yeah, man, he's hot."
"I knew it!"
he shouts through his laughter as I shake my head at all the attention he's drawing to himself. He takes a moment and then, with a straight face, sets his phone on the bar next to me and says,
"Here, you enjoy glow stick, girl. I gotta take a piss,"
before stumbling off. I turn around in my seat and don't touch the phone. The girl behind the bar looks over at me and gives me a small grin. When she walks over, she looks at my glass and asks, "More?" "I'm good." "Your friend's pretty funny." "My friend is pretty drunk," I tell her. And when she rests her forearms on the bar top and leans forward, she asks, "And what about you?" I'm in total control. I say in a low voice, and when I do, I get the look I was hoping for. "We'll see about that," she says as she pulls back and walks away to continue helping customers. I sit there for a while and nurse my drink. When I realize how much time has passed and Mark hasn't returned, I grab his phone to go look for him. I spot him towards the back of the club, talking with Gavin. When I step up to them, I hand Mark his phone and tell Gavin, "Call this guy a cab, will you?" "Yeah, man," he responds. "You heading out?" "Not yet," I say, heading back towards the bar. But before I can get there, I run into the bartender as she's about to turn down a hall that looks like it leads to an office. "You leaving?" she asks. Wanting to know if this is worth wasting my time, I cut to the chase. "Not if you don't want me to." An all-too-transparent grin spreads across her face before she says, "Come here." She takes my hand and starts leading me down the hall, opening a door to a small closet. She pulls me in and shuts the door. I can't see shit. It's so dark, and the smells of bleach and booze fill the room. Her body presses up against mine, and I begin running my hands up underneath her top, grabbing her tits. She starts kissing my neck while fumbling with my pants, and the heat takes over. We begin moving at a frantic pace. I yank her top up and pull her bra down as she shoves her hand down my pants, fisting me tightly. I throw my head back and hear the thunk as it hits the wall. "Are you okay?" Is she gonna be okay? Suddenly, I'm back in the alley as my words play back in my head. This chick is all over me, but in an instant, my mind is somewhere else completely. Somewhere it hasn't been in a long time. I try to shake it off, but it's so dark in here that my eyes have nothing to focus on. God, please, stop! Stop. What's wrong? She pants. Stop. I repeat and move her away from me, buttoning up my pants. I know I can't do this. I know that she isn't, but all that floods my head is that this girl could be that girl. And what the hell am I doing with her anyway? Using her for a quick fuck to satisfy some sick need I have that I can't seem to get rid of? Fuck. Did I do something? She questions, and the last thing I want to do is make her feel like shit. Pull your shirt down, I tell her before opening the door. When I do, I look at her and say, You didn't do anything? I just can't do this. Sorry. I turn to walk out and back into the club. I don't even look for the guys. I just head straight out the door and continue to my Jeep to head home and jerk off. I sit in my office at the bar, drinking beer and not getting much work done at all. Last night was messed up, and I know I can't be doing that shit again. I need something else to focus on. So I spent the morning clearing the images off of my camera and loading them onto my computer to start editing and enhancing. I figure I can work on those to suck up all the free time I seem to have on my hands at night now. When the door to my office opens, Jace walks in. Hey, man, he says as he walks straight to the little fridge that's behind my desk that I keep stocked with beer. Can you toss me another one of those? I ask as I throw my empty bottle into the trash. Handing me the beer, he asks, So, you been up here all day? Pretty much. You know how Saturdays are. Crazy as hell all day. I take a drink and then add, Missed you last night. Mark said you got hung up with a friend. Yeah, sorry about that. She's been going through a rough time, so I decided to stay with her last night. You missed a pretty good show, I tell him, referring more to his boyfriend than the band. That's what Mark said. I can't help but laugh at the thought of him last night. Your guy's a little crazy when he drinks. I'm not even gonna ask, but he was in a piss-ass mood when I saw him earlier. I bet. He drank a shitload, probably hungover as fuck. We both laugh when the door opens and Mark walks through. What's so funny? He asks as he stands there. You, man, I chuckle. If this is about last night, I don't even want to know what the hell I did. My head has been pounding all damn day, and now I have to play for the next 2 hours. Go find Max. He always has earplugs, I tell him. Not a bad idea. Turning to Jace, he asks, Can I stay with you tonight? My new roommate just decided to tell me that he's throwing a party tonight. Yeah, no problem. Well, I gotta run. I just wanted to catch you, he says before he heads back down to the bar. I start to shut down the computer when I ask, So, is she okay? Who? Your friend, the one you were with last night, I say. Standing up, I grab my beer and start to head out when Jace stands to follow me, saying, She's getting there. Chapter 8. Since that night at the Crocodile a few weeks ago, I've been out of touch with Gavin and spending more time with Jace and Mark. I hit the coast the other week to get a break and do some surfing. I finished working on several of the photos that were stored on my camera and picked up the mattings from the framer yesterday. I don't know what I plan on doing with them, but I spent so much time working on them that I feel like I needed to finish them off by getting them matted. I had to call Tori to let her know I wouldn't be making it back home for Halloween. I know she was disappointed, but Michael has had some things come up at home and hasn't been at the bar very much. Not sure what's going on with him, but I've had to be at work more than usual, covering for him. Pulling out my phone, I open up my video chat and connect to Tori. I promised her I would call to say hi to Connor and Bailey before they leave to go trick-or-treating.
The call connects, and I see Tori when she answers. "Hey, Ryan," she says, and I can tell she's flustered. The background is filled with kids laughing and being loud as usual. "You look rough," I tease. "Connor had a Halloween party at a play date we went to earlier, so the kid is hopped up on sugar," she explains. "Put him on, I want to see him." "Connor, Uncle Rye's on the phone," she hollers over her shoulder, and I see a miniature Superman with not-so-miniature padded muscles. "Buddy, when have you been hitting the gym?" I ask. "I have muscles," he says, and then crooks his arm up with an intense face and growls, "Arr!" I laugh at his mock intensity and say, "Dude, you're getting bigger than me." "Show me yours, Uncle Ryan," he requests. Crooking my arm in the same way he did, and giving him the intensity right back, I flex and growl, "Arr." His eyes grow big, in the way only an innocent 4-year-old's can, and he says, excitedly, "Wow!" "Yeah, man, keep lifting those weights and you'll get big guns like me." "You're ridiculous," Tori teases as she pops her head back onto the screen. "Hey, Connor, don't let your mommy make fun of me, okay?" "Mommy, be nice," he scolds her, and I let out a laugh. "Where's your sister, little man?" I watch as he runs off, red cape flying behind him. These kids have a way, in a matter of only seconds, of putting me on top of the world. I doubt I'll ever have any of my own, so I try to get the most out of my cousin's children. "Here she is," I hear Tori say as she hoists Bailey onto her lap. She's the sweetest little poodle I have ever seen. "My little angel's a poodle," I say, not able to wipe the smile off my face. The cuteness is too much. "Say hi," Tori encourages, as Bailey raises her chubby arm and waves at me before pointing, pressing her finger against the screen and saying, "Why?" "That's right. It's Rai," she says to Bailey. "Give Rai kisses," I tell her. Perking her lips, she gives me an exaggerated mwah. Mwah, I give her back in return. "Are you coming for Thanksgiving?" Connor asks when he walks up, standing next to Tori and Bailey. "Yeah, buddy, I am. Promise. I miss you guys so much, you know that?" "I miss you too," he says. "Well, I'm gonna let you guys go. Make sure you get a ton of candy. Be good for your mommy and daddy, okay?" "Yay! Can we go trick-or-treating now, Mommy?" Connor asks with way too much energy, and I have no clue how Tori and Trevor are going to get through Halloween without the aid of alcohol. "Yes, we can go. Say bye to your uncle." "Bye, Uncle Ryan," he shouts before running off. "Say bye-bye," Tori tells Bailey. Waving her hand again, she says, "Bye-bye." "Bye, sweetie," I tell her. "We gotta go before Connor drives me crazy," I hear Trevor, Tori's husband, say as he walks up. "Okay," she responds. "Hey, Ryan, what's up?" Trevor says into the phone. "Not much. Looks like you have your hands full." "You have no idea. Get your ass up here and help us out," he jokes. "Soon, man. You guys have fun tonight." "Same to you. Bye." "Bye," Tori adds. "Take it easy, guys," I say before disconnecting the call. I take the next half hour to call my other 2 cousins and check in with their kids. Envy starts to move slowly inside of me, and before I let the feeling take over, I go upstairs to my room, blast some music, and hop in the shower. It's going to be a busy night at work, and I don't need to be in a funk. I love my family, but the idea of having my own worries me. What I grew up with was far from perfect. I've never had to take care of anyone other than myself, aside from my mom. But she's a strong woman, always has been. I don't really know what it means to provide for someone else emotionally. Even if I did, I doubt I would be capable of it. I live a selfish life. I only take care of myself, and at times, I feel like I do a shitty job of it. After my shower, I grab a bite to eat and watch a little TV. I find myself focusing on the rain outside rather than the show that's playing. It's pouring as I stare out the solid wall of windows. I've always loved the weather here, never getting tired of the constant rain. My phone rings, and when I look at the screen, I see Max's name. "What's up?" I say when I answer. "When are you getting here?" "What time